UFC 316 just wrapped up. Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili 2. And I'm going to give you guys a quick recap of the main card, the last 5 fights. This card overall was a pretty good card, but I need you guys to do me a favor and go in my comment section on this video and call me an absolute casual, because guess what? Sean O'Malley faced Merab again tonight, and I picked Sean O'Malley to finish him in the first fight, and I picked Sean O'Malley to finish him again in this fight. And guess what? Merab not only beat him again, but Merab submits Sean O'Malley in the second round, or third round actually. Gets a submission on Sean O'Malley, taps him out. All the shit that I've given Merab for not finishing fights, for being a boring fighter, for being a takedown merchant, for being whatever, a goblin. You guys know all the things we say about Merab. He finally gets a finish. And who would have thought that Merab would submit Sean O'Malley? He says he was working in the training room on his submission ability, his finishes, and such. And I guess it showed, because, I mean, listen, man, Merab, it looks unbeatable. Like, who can beat this guy, you know? He's already beaten the boogeyman of his division, and Umar Nurmagomedov. And now he just slayed the dragon that is, what do we want to call it? Disciplined Sean O'Malley, who gave up social media, who gave up jerking it, who gave up all this stuff, gave up the colored hair for this fight. Supposed to be the best version of Sean O'Malley we've ever seen. And Merab made it look even easier, because he's just better, man. Even his striking, if you watch the fight back, Merab's striking looked insane in this fight. It looked great. He was cracking O'Malley on the feet. O'Malley looked very uncomfortable the whole time. I just think the thing that makes a fight for Sean O'Malley against Merab so hard for O'Malley is that Sean O'Malley getting pressure, he's not used to getting pressured backwards, right, guys? He's been on the back foot before, but Merab puts like an insane amount of pressure on people to where no matter what you do, you're going to be going backwards, and he's likely going to get a bunch of takedowns on you, and that's very demoralizing when you're trying to get your striking game going. Like, he's not like Aljamain Sterling. Aljamain will look for takedowns, right? But Merab is not looking for a takedown. He's looking to just smother you. He's looking to just beat you up and make you tired. That's exactly what he kept doing. He kept getting Sean O'Malley against the fence. The fight in the beginning, it looked like Sean O'Malley was defending the takedowns quite well. He was holding his own. I was like, okay, Sean O'Malley's going to keep it on the feet. But it's like, man, it doesn't even matter, because even when the fight was on the feet, Merab Dvalishvili was outstriking Sean O'Malley. He was cracking him. He was hitting him with right hands. It was insane, man. Sean was circling left to right, looking like a chicken with his head cut off. And yeah, man, ultimately, in the third round, Merab had Sean O'Malley on the ground nearly the whole round, just beating him up, and eventually locked up a submission, taps Sean O'Malley out, the first fighter in the UFC to submit Sean O'Malley ever. And this is Merab's first submission win inside the UFC, maybe in his entire career. I'm not sure. I have to go stat check that, but I know Merab hasn't had a finish since he fought Marlon Moraes, I think in 2021. It's been 4 or 5 years since Merab has had a finish, and a lot of scrutiny that he's gotten from the fans, including myself, is that he doesn't finish fights. Like, sure, he's semi-entertaining with his little character he does, and his Instagram skits, and how dominant he is. He has the most takedowns in UFC history, and he's dominant. He's the most dominant fighter in bantamweight history, but it's like, dude, this guy would never finish a fight, so he would get a lot of shit from the fans, from me including myself, as I said. And now he's finally gotten a submission win, so even myself, who calls Merab a boring fighter, I have to shut up and taste defeat in the fact that he just submitted Sean O'Malley. And listen, you know what? Leading up to the fight in my streams, people asked me who was I picking in this fight. I went back and forth. Ultimately, I led my final pick on Sean O'Malley. I was like, you know what? Sean O'Malley's going to come in there improved. He's going to come in there showing that he quit all this stuff in his personal life. He's not injured this time. He's training wrestling, training grappling. I thought Sean would be. He looked locked in leading up. I thought he would be able to do enough. But, man, it just doesn't matter. I still think Sean O'Malley's a better striker than Merab. But that doesn't matter, because Merab's pressure is so grueling and so overwhelming that you can be a better striker technically, but it doesn't matter, because Merab's threat of the takedown and his forward pressure is just so overwhelming that if you're not able to knock this guy out cold or get him in a submission, Merab's going to dominate anybody. He beats Umar in a rematch. He beats Sandhagen. He beats everybody, dude. Like, who beats this guy? You have to catch this guy with a flying knee KO. That's the only way you beat Merab. You're not going to beat him by decision. He's too damn good. He's too damn dominant. His wrestling is too insane. I mean, and that's the thing about Merab, right? He doesn't have like the most like insane technical wrestling, but he has such amazing cardio that he can just spam takedowns over and over and over again, and you're just stuck to deal with it. You have to deal with those takedowns, because that's what he's going to do to you, man. And yeah, Sean O'Malley succumbs to Merab Dvalishvili. He gets submitted in the third round. Who would have ever thought that Merab Dvalishvili would get a finish in the Big 25, and Sean O'Malley's now on a 2-fight losing streak. Sean O'Malley has committed UFC career fraud by losing to the same guy 2 times in a row. Now Sean O'Malley will never sniff a UFC bantamweight title again as long as Merab's around, because he's not going to get a 3rd fight. He got dominated and destroyed in this last fight. And yeah, man, it's a tough pill to swallow if you're Sean O'Malley. You, like I said, you gave up all this stuff in your personal life and you still came up short. You got dominated. You got destroyed. And now we all have to sit here and put respect on Merab's name, because he's now has 2 title defenses. He has a 13-fight win streak at bantamweight. He's one of the most dominant, no, he's the most dominant bantamweight in UFC history, most takedowns in UFC history. I mean, this guy, and he's still improving at 34 years old. What else can Merab say or do? I'm going to put some respect on his name. I'm not picking against him ever again. I am an absolute casual for picking O'Malley again. So flame me in the comments. I 100% deserve it. Shout out to Merab Dvalishvili. He gets a finish. He gets it done. And for Sean O'Malley, like I said, if he doesn't change divisions, he's just going to be sticking around for money fights, because there's no one else. I mean, there's no title shots in the near future unless Merab retires tomorrow, which is not going to happen. He said he wants to be active. Sean O'Malley's pretty much in a screwed position. So, yeah, great fight. Not really. Merab kicked his ass, but yeah, Merab gets it done. And I was wrong again. Let's get on to that co-main event where Kayla Harrison ran right through Juliana Pena, submitted her in the 2nd round. I would say good fight, but I'd be lying to you. Kayla Harrison bullied Juliana Pena, eventually got her to the ground, and she tapped her out. I think it was with a Kimura. She tried a face crank at first, but Juliana Pena was able to slip out, and eventually Kayla Harrison grabbed the Kimura, and man, did Juliana Pena tap really fast. That must have been really tight. I know Kayla Harrison's built. She's kind of built like a man, if we're being real, bro. She's got some insane genetics, dude. That's not a diss to Kayla Harrison. She's just extremely strong. She's jacked. We saw her on the scale. She barely made 135. She looked like an absolute skeleton. And yeah, man, she runs right through Juliana Pena, which we all kind of knew. I mean, Kayla Harrison in this fight was like almost near 7-1 favorite as the challenger. She's the biggest favorite as a challenger in the last 5 years. Like, that was absolutely insane that as the challenger, I know it's like Kayla Harrison, but still being a near 7-1 favorite and you're not even the champion, that was insane in itself. But yeah, Juliana Pena's striking looked rudimentary as it always does. Kayla Harrison, her striking still does leave a lot to be desired. It's nothing crazy, but once she gets that takedown, she's going to dominate, smash elbows on the ground, go for submissions. She's now submitted Holly Holm and Juliana Pena, which is impressive. But let's talk about something about this ref. I forgot his name, but the ref in this fight was based because Juliana Pena landed 2 illegal up kicks on Kayla Harrison. And the reason they were illegal is because Kayla Harrison had both her knees down and Juliana Pena threw 2 up kicks. And the ref immediately took a point. He said, screw that. We're not doing fouls tonight. He took a point right away. And people in the comments were like, man, we need to get this guy in every fight. This guy's based. We need because we need these type of refs to take away points when guys are eye poking and nut shotting over and over. And these refs are just like, yeah, we're going to give you a hard, stern warning. This ref was like, no, we're not doing warnings. You're getting a point taken. So technically the first round was a 10-8 for Kayla Harrison because the point taken. And then Juliana Pena, like I said, she gets taken down. She gets smashed. She gets submitted by a Kimura in the second round, right at the end of the round. And even if you look at the total strikes, I mean, Kayla Harrison was up 59-15, 2 of 3 on her takedowns, submitted Juliana Pena, and Amanda Nunes got into the cage, and they were pretty respectful, went back and forth, said they were going to come back, and yeah, man, that's a great fight. I think if she does face Amanda Nunes, I think Nunes is going to have the big striking advantage, and Kayla Harrison is going to have the ground advantage, because let's not forget, Nunes has been finished before earlier in her career on the ground. But nonetheless, I would say good fight, but again, Kayla Harrison absolutely smashed Juliana Pena. I got this fight correct, but I did get the main event wrong. Let's get on to the feature fight, which was Body Bags Joe Pyfer, the saltiest man in the entire United States. If you don't know, now you know. This guy's pissed off at everything. Listen, man, Joe Pyfer had an insane first round. He was wobbling, bobbling, and knocking Kelvin Gastelum around the octagon like a pinball machine. Kelvin Gastelum, I thought, was going to get finished by strikes for the first time in his entire career, but Joe Pyfer doesn't seem to have killer instinct because he had Kelvin Gastelum nearly out of there, and Kelvin Gastelum was able to survive. And then, man, listen, there's an argument for Kelvin Gastelum to come back and win round 2. It was a close round, but there's an argument for Kelvin Gastelum to win round 2, and I think Kelvin Gastelum clearly won round 3. So this fight arguably could have been ruled a draw because I do think you have to give Joe Pyfer a 10-8 round in the first round. He destroyed Kelvin Gastelum. He knocked him down twice. He was beating him up. He knocked him down with a punch, and then he knocked him down with a head kick. Kelvin Gastelum just looked like he was tentative in this fight. He was scared to throw, scared to engage. I think he respected the power of Joe Pyfer a lot, and Joe Pyfer admitted after the fight that he respected Kelvin's chin a lot. But yeah, man, Kelvin Gastelum was showing that crafty vet status towards the end of the fight because he was coming back and looking to put on an absolute masterclass. Nah, not a masterclass, but you get what I'm saying. He was coming back. If this was a 5-round fight, I think Kelvin Gastelum would have won by 48-47 against Joe Pyfer. But nonetheless, Joe Pyfer returns with his fresh hairline. If you guys don't know, he got his hairline done in Turkey. And actually, one of the reporters at the press conference pointed that out. He was like, yo, man, you're looking a lot better with your hairline. And Joe Pyfer was like, I don't know if that's a diss. I'm going to remember your face. I'm beat your ass. But yeah, all jokes aside, Joe Pyfer gets it done. I thought it arguably could have been a draw, man. It was a good fight, a good scrap. Joe Pyfer showed a lack of finishing ability, I'd say, in this fight because it seemed like he was scared to go in for the kill against Kelvin, which is crazy because it's not like Kelvin's some jiu-jitsu wizard that's going to submit him, you know? So what would be the harm in him following Kelvin Gastelum to the ground, trying to land vicious ground and pound? But I would say good performance by Joe Pyfer, but man, I don't know, man. I wasn't overly impressed outside of the first round. The second and third round, if you're not destroying Kelvin Gastelum in a fight in 2025, you probably need to work on some stuff. But Joe Pyfer has been out since August. He had a back injury, so he did his thing. He got a win. I'm not going to hate too hard. Joe Pyfer gets it done. Let's get on to the next fight where I picked Patchy Mix like an absolute dummy. Who in the world would pick Patchy Mix? Oh, that's right, I did. So like I said, go in the comments and spam casual because I deserve it. In the fight, this was one of the most embarrassing performances. I'm never picking a Bellator guy again because guess what? Patchy Mix got destroyed by Mario Bautista. Guess what? Michael Chandler got destroyed. Who else? There's some other Bellator guys. I forget who else. But in the fight, I'm like, all right, Patchy Mix, he's known as a submission guy, right? He's 20-1 in his career. Former Bellator champ. This guy has 13 submissions on his record. He has amazing grappling according to his fans and people in the MMA space. I've watched a few highlights, I've seen him get some submissions. Pretty good on the ground, I'm like, all right. Mario Bautista, I'm not overly impressed. He's on an 8-fight win streak now, but I was like, you know what? Mario Bautista is kind of a jack of all trades. He's kind of good everywhere. He has slick striking. He has slick wrestling. He has slick grappling, but not like he's not a master of anything. I'm like, all right, Patchy Mix is a specialist. He'll get a submission on Mario Bautista. Mario Bautista actually was submitted by Corey Sandhagen back in the day. Little did I know that Patchy Mix would just stand in front of Mario Bautista and just take shots to the side of the temple and then wince with his face like this the whole time. What was he doing with his face? You guys see that? Every time Patchy Mix would get hit, he would just wince. He wouldn't move his head at all. He wouldn't try to go for a takedown. In fact, I don't think he shot one takedown in the entire fight, and it got stuffed. What an absolute embarrassing performance by Patchy Mix. What was this guy doing? I mean, this was supposed to be the most touted and like skilled bantamweight Bellator prospect that has come to the UFC. He had a ton of hype, a 20-1 record, and this really does go to show that the UFC is top notch because this guy had no success against Mario Bautista. He got pieced up for 3 rounds, and I just want to know from him and his coaches, what was the game plan? Like, what were you planning to do going in? Because, dude, like, not a single takedown? Really? He shot 1 takedown. This guy's a grappling specialist, and he's getting pieced up and worked on the feet the entire fight. Mario Bautista's circling around. He made Mario Bautista look like Prime Wonder Boy out there. What was he doing? Patchy Mix felt to mix it up, and that's embarrassing, man. And I feel embarrassed for picking this guy. As I said, I'm an absolute casual. I'm never picking the Bellator guy again. What was I thinking? I watched some highlights. I got sucked up into the hype of him being 20-1 and this submission specialist. I saw the Rafion Stotts knockout. I'm like, all right, Patchy Mix could put in some work, but we should have known. Mario Bautista has been underrated for a while because he stunk it up against Jose Aldo and the fans don't like him anymore. But listen, man, you look great in this fight. Mario Bautista trains at the MMA lab with Sean O'Malley and those guys. I know in hindsight what happened to O'Malley, that's not a great look, but man, I should have known better. I was kind of edging to pick Bautista most of the time leading up to the fight, and at the end, I switched to Patchy Mix like an absolute dummy, as I said. But Patchy Mix looks embarrassing. He keeps it on the feet the entire time with Bautista. I mean, what was he trying to do? Was he trying to learn how to strike mid-fight? This guy's a grappler, dude. You've been in MMA forever. You're not going to become develop your striking in the middle of the fight versus Bautista. So him not shooting any takedowns, absolute joke. It was just like whenever Renyan Nakamura, who's known for his wrestling, didn't shoot any takedowns versus Muin Gafarov, if you know, you know, and got absolutely destroyed on the feet. This was like the same thing. Like, what was Patchy Mix thinking? Like, did he think he was going to get a flash knockout? I'm not sure what he thought, but man, that's rough for Patchy Mix. If you look at that performance and you look at the top 15 of bantamweight, who does this guy beat? Like, I mean, I know it was unknown of his skills in the UFC, but now we know. And who does this guy beat at bantamweight? I don't know if he beats anybody, but Patchy Mix gets embarrassed and gets shut down by Mario Bautista, gets schooled over 3 rounds. Bautista makes it look easy. He's now on an 8-fight win streak. He's already a top 10 fighter, so he'll be looking to fight up the rankings. And for Patchy Mix, man, you better give this guy like Ayman Zahabi or something, or give him like somebody unranked, because he needs to work on his game and his game planning. That was some of the lowest fight IQ I've seen in a while. Not shooting takedowns when you're literally a grappling specialist. But it is what it is. I got that pick wrong. I went 2-3 on the main card. Mario Bautista gets it done. Let's get on to the last fight on the main card, or the first fight on the main card, rather, which was Kevin Holland versus Vicente Luque. Another pick I got wrong. I actually picked Vicente Luque to submit Kevin Holland. Boy, was I wrong. It was the other way around, because if you guys don't know, Vicente Luque actually has the most Darce chokes in UFC history at 4, and Kevin Holland Darce choked the Darce choker. That's right. Kevin Holland Darce chokes Vicente Luque, and as much of an embarrassment as Kevin Holland has made himself in 2025 with the Jackson podcast and the whole like crashing out and walking out of the interview or the media day, and then him coping about not being champion, this guy has legit skills. I don't think he has the skills to be a champion, but he needs to just stop coping and take his career seriously, and stop turning the fans against you. Maybe he wants to play the heel. I don't know. But this guy is such an unlikable douchebag. Like, anytime Kevin Holland opens up your mouth, you just think like, wow, this guy's a real dickhead for no reason too. He could be a fan favorite. He's an active fighter. If he just wasn't an asshat and actually like tried to be a fan favorite, everybody would love him. Maybe he likes being the villain. I don't know. But he has this weird cope about his career where like, he's like, yeah, I don't want to be top 10 or top 5 or champion because then you can't go in Walmart anymore and people will recognize you. You can't live the life of peace. Like, no, bro, that's just you coping that you're not good enough to be a champion. Keep it real. Stop talking about like you don't want to be a top 5 fighter because you don't want the fame, bro. You can't be a top 5 fighter. But nonetheless, I'm dunking on Kevin Holland because just his smug attitude and just how much of a douche he is pisses me off. But he does get it done against Vicente Luque. He Darce chokes him in the second round. And listen, man, Kevin Holland at 170 might be a problem for a lot of these guys. He does have a split decision against Jack Della Maddalena that was kind of a close fight. I thought that was unanimous for Jack, but that was a close fight. Kevin Holland also has an 80-inch reach at welterweight, which is insane. That is by far the longest reach at welterweight. And this guy has the talent, I say, to be a top 10 fighter. I don't think he's top 5 material. I don't think he's championship material, but I think he has the talent to get into the top 10 at welterweight, especially with a lot of the older guys up and on their way out. He just has to take his career seriously. But who am I kidding, guys? Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying Kevin Holland's like championship material. Don't get it wrong. I'm just saying he could potentially be top 10, but according to him, he doesn't want to. So why are you fighting ranked fighters if you don't want to be ranked, Kevin Holland? But he submits Vicente Luque. I'm kind of happy Luque got submitted and didn't get knocked out cold. Before that, it was a good back and forth on the feet. They kind of just pitter-pattered each other until eventually Kevin Holland locked up the submission and tapped Vicente Luque. Is he the first fighter in the UFC to tap Vicente Luque? I know Luque has a bunch of Darces, but I don't know if he's ever been submitted. He is a black belt himself. But as we know, Vicente Luque seems to be a little bit reckless with his grappling, so I'm not overly surprised that Kevin Holland submitted him. Kevin Holland has very long arms, and I'd say underrated grappling because he gets submitted. He got submitted twice at middleweight, and he's been submitted by Khamzat. So Kevin Holland at welterweight, though, is going to be very hard to submit if you're not Khamzat Chimaev. But nonetheless, Kevin Holland gets it done. He's now going to be ranked in the welterweight division again. Kevin Holland ranked in the Big 25 is actually crazy. Right quick, let's go over one more fight. Joshua Van put an absolute beatdown on Bruno Silva, way worse than Manel Kape ever did. I mean, he beat Bruno Silva pillar to post, an absolute domination, and then eventually gets the TKO, I think, in the third round. And Joshua Van, at 23 years old, I think, is now 6-1 or 7-1 in the UFC, ranked top 10 now. Joshua Van is easily my favorite fighter in the lower weight classes. Such an exciting fighter. Maybe it's either him or Diego Lopez, but man, just the performances. And this guy's arguably the fastest fighter we've ever seen in the history of the UFC. This kid is so fast. And he's from Myanmar, repping Houston, Texas. Shout out to Joshua Van. He TKOs Bruno Silva in the third round. And yeah, man, that's the main card of UFC 316. Overall, it was a solid card. I wouldn't say it was amazing. It was solid. It was fun. The name value on the card was decent. It wasn't anything to write home about. And you know what? Looking at the 317 main card, Justin Tafa's on the main card again. So I'm kind of worried. I need to look at the undercard again on UFC 317, but it don't look that great, man. UFC 316, it played out pretty good on paper. Merab gets a finish, right? Kayla Harrison smashes Juliana Pena. What more could you ask for? But yeah, man, 317 main card with Justin Tafa on it is weak, man. I hate that. Why is Justin Tafa on a main card? But that's ultimately my recap of UFC 316. Merab submits Sean O'Malley. I never thought I'd be saying that in 2025. Leave a like on the video. Call me a casual in the comments for picking O'Malley again. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm out, and peace.